All right, welcome back to the Beast Game Podcast, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Cobra Kai Season 1 on YouTube Red. What did you think of Cobra Kai?
That was probably the best example of a sequel slash reimagining of a franchise from the 80s. That's probably the best example of what I've seen done. It took all the elements that made Karate Kid so good, like about bullying and kids standing up for themselves and having confidence in themselves. But it took a comedic slant from the perspective of the villain from the first Karate Kid movie. It's comedic and light enough that you can be entertained by it, but at the same time, there was enough in it that you were sympathetic to his character and to what he was doing. I thought the episodes were paced perfectly. A half hour was the perfect time for it.
I really wish Netflix would do that a little bit more with their series, because sometimes that hour investment is a little too much. Basically 10, 12, 13, 15 episodes.
It told the story well. It was paced well. It did feel a bit rushed between the last 3 episodes, because you think about it, it was like it took place almost an entire school year, I think it was.
Yeah, and particularly some of the character development happens relatively quickly during that time. One character is Miguel. He just goes from okay to idiot pretty quickly.
The message that Johnny was teaching him didn't work, but at the same time, I kind of liked the way it affected him. Like that last episode, you just saw how it affected him. But the whole aspect that it probably would have done better, actually, if it was like a couple more episodes, maybe 1 or 2 more episodes, smooth out that transition from the storyline with his son, Daniel's daughter, and Miguel. The rest of Cobra Kai turned into rampant jerks and stuff. You kind of see their confidence being built after that first school fight. Kind of Cobra Kai builds up, but it just moved a little quickly at that point. And they probably should have slowed it down just a tad. Like I said, I like 1 or 2 more episodes would have smoothed out the transition, but I saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to keep it on pace, keep it going. They had a whole season mapped out where the end of the season would be the tournament, and it'll segue into the next season with a kind of like a revitalization and everything of Miyagi Dojo and stuff. I enjoyed it. Hilarious fun. I thought the trailer didn't give away too much. It kept in line with the trailer that I saw and delivered on what I wanted to see in the trailer. And, you kind of had this down and out karate master guy who was the kid who was supposed to have it all.
He's frying up bologna
with hot sauce, and he's got a crappy life, driving, living in the past, and him stepping up and training this kid and everything. You see him kind of growing and building, but at the same time, he's getting pulled back. And I like that they didn't make Daniel LaRusso the shining knight. He had just as much dirt on him as everything else.
So I brought up to James, he was using shrewd business tactics to try to destroy Cobra Kai.
Right. And he did it in a funny way. This is a rivalry and getting back at him for what he did to me. And he was fighting his own way. And the two of them, it got serious when Daniel's cousin stepped into the mix and stuff. That happened a little too quickly, but at the same time, it shifted the focus and everything. And I kind of wish, again, that they had taken a little more time and paced it just a little bit slower. But the last episode, that big reveal at the end was nice, because I honestly thought that actor was dead.
Yeah.
I thought the dude was
Martin
dead,
Cove.
but he popped up. I was like, oh, okay.
Like, no sensei.
And I liked how during the in tournament, you saw Cobra Kai as you saw them in the original movie, just this merciless, ruthless group of kids who would do anything to win. And
yeah, it kind of reminded me of that movie Dodgeball.
Yeah, but it didn't have the happy-go-lucky ending. I'm actually glad that they had it, that they did the whole thing where he just kind of sat back and saw what he did.
Yeah, he
but
felt
he's like powerless to stop
it.
He's like, this is what I taught him, and they won, but wow, that's not cool. And I think it would have been a lot better had Cobra Kai been doing those underhanded stuff to other dojos as opposed to just his kid. It looked like he was more or less worried about his own son, but not worried about his students being complete assholes. But overall, I thought it was fantastic. Well worth the YouTube Red subscription. Even if I got paid $7.95, $8 for it, it was well worth that price, because it's a fantastic show. I loved it. Pretty funny, very entertaining. I had a good message to tell, and it retained the spirit and all the lessons that the original movies had, and added some new ones to it.
All right, so I have a couple of questions for you. First question is, what did you think of the interweaving of all the character backgrounds that just by happenstance Johnny gets into an accident, and it turns out the people in the accident are his mortal rivals?
Actually, that worked out. That was only just the catalyst. Thing that kind of sparked everything off, more fuel to the fire, so to speak. It wasn't like that this tournament was a week later and he had a week to do something before his rent ran out or something like that. It was just a series of events that transpired and he capitalized or, bumbled his way through it as much as possible. I didn't see it as contrived or anything like that.
Keith, what did you think of the fact that all of the secondary characters caused the bulk of the problem? So it wasn't Johnny and Danny causing problems with each other. It was everyone else in between.
Worked out a lot better than the two of them just kind of button heads. Because the whole premise of it was that they turned the whole bullying aspects into a rivalry that they had. Towards the end of the series, you realize it was just like they had different perceptions of the whole thing. Told a story about him and his beef with LaRusso. He told it from his perspective, and LaRusso stole his girl and then was picking on him.
James likes to comment about that.
Think about it from his perspective. He was kind of right.
Forgot about the dance that they went to pour that water on him to get back at him. And yeah, he got him back, but it wasn't him getting him back. It was
you instigated that shit.
Beef. You instigate more trouble, more drama, and then your teacher comes up and beats us up. Nah, fuck that. And all that escalated. But the secondary characters, them causing the problems, actually worked out better than the two of them just consistently button head. It was more like they had beef. It was annoying. And what I liked best was that it was this animosity, but they didn't want to rehash it and dig too deep into it, except for LaRusso talking about like all the times he messed with them and stuff and how they got into it and like, hey, I'm in this great place now. I'm going to do something nice for you and I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to fix your car for free because that's me. I'm the bigger man. And he was rubbing that in his face, and you saw that from the get-go. That's kind of a jerk move in a way. Tossing some guy who's lost his bus money a couple dollars on the sidewalk and then walking on. Johnny didn't let it go either. He didn't let go of the animosity he felt from losing. Other characters causing all the problem, helping to escalate it, worked out a lot better. Like, I thought his cousin being the idiot he was, doing all that dumb stuff, that kind of spun off too quickly, and that ties into the pacing of it.
Yeah.
His cousin goes from fixing the billboard to deciding to have the guy's car smashed up. That's escalated stuff a little bit. Thought that worked out better than the two of them saying, oh, hey, it's the 50th anniversary for our tournament. Let's do it. Let's rehash our rivalry or some shit.
What I thought about this was that it's really just a retelling of the Bad News Bears, that Johnny's taking in all the undesirables instead of all the rich kids or all the mean kids. He just turns the people that get bullied into bullies.
That's the thing that made it hilarious, was that it wasn't like this feel-good thing where I'm going to teach you a moral lesson. It was like at the end, I'm going to teach you the last lesson. No mercy. Drop kick him. Beat him till they can't get up. It was like, what?
What are you about to say, James?
See, but the thing about that, they delved into the backstory of Johnny that no one knew. Pay attention to it. Johnny was actually bullied too. Him and Daniel are basically two sides of the same coin. Mm-hmm. One had a positive role model, one had a negative role model.
And Daniel said it when he was talking to his son. Your dad had the worst teacher imaginable. This guy was the worst thing out there, and he was freaking terrible. That's what he learned from, and that's how he got that his whole philosophy from those terrible examples. I guess that's why I like the show that much, because at the end, I just looked at what he created. Like, what did I just do? I just fucked up bad.
Yeah, he had a sense of remorse, because you could tell even when it was to the point that during the last fight, he was like, no, we're not going to win like this, because that's basically the same exact situation that happened to him with Daniel. We're not going to do it like this.
Like, show him mercy when I just told you no mercy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Johnny said it. He helped those kids out. He gave them confidence. He did all these great things for these kids. At the same time, he did do some fucked up shit. But the kids also helped him grow as a man, because at that time he started realizing his mistakes with his own son. Mm-hmm. He wanted to make amends with his son. I mean, he wrote that letter to his son just trying to work things out. And what set him over the edge is when he found out that Daniel was teaching his son. LaRusso didn't know that, but it just culminated on his hatred for Daniel. This shit runs deep. I mean, the thing about it, this show made you sympathize with Johnny a bit.
Yeah, and like that first episode, I kind of thought LaRusso was an asshole. His life actually wasn't perfect. It was kind of fucked up too. And just like you said, James, they were two sides of the same coin. They had their problems, but again, Daniel had this positive reinforcement. He had a good family. He was trying to do stuff, but he didn't let stuff go. I mean, he was trying to keep him out of the tournament. It was actually childish the way that they were going at it. But at the same time, it was entertaining because you could tell that that's how grown men would be thinking. Men don't let that kind of stuff go. You don't just let stuff like that go and walk away from it. Even though he attained all that, seeing Cobra Kai come back up and then win, It worked out. I'm surprised at how well what they put together worked out so well. I love that he didn't have Johnny go back and try to do this positive spin on his messages and everything. It was like strike first, strike hard, no mercy. I thought it was hilarious the way that his training methods were the exact opposite of Miyagi's training methods. And in the end, it did work. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I was actually surprised that I would like the kids, the young actors, so much. I actually liked pretty much all of them.
Hawk had me dying, man. Got that tattoo, he was like flapping his wings and shit. I was like, what the fuck?
I felt bad, like when he was like making fun of him. I'm like, damn, that's jacked up. Dude walked
yeah,
away.
like I said,
back,
he was like, yeah, I think I might be on the spectrum. He's like, get off that.
Oh, what was that? I knew this was going to be crazy when he kicked Miguel in the chest using the asthma inhaler. He was like, he said, you don't have asthma in here. He just tossed the asthma mask to the side. It's that kind of off the wall silliness that was intermixed with a lot of the serious stuff that sold the whole show. So
yeah, it's kind of like a dark comedy.
Yeah, that's like a better word for it. And it wasn't super dark, but it was, I guess you're saying, you know, and damn, Ed Asner is old as shit.
He sounded horrible, man. I thought he was about to die on fucking show and shit. I was like, damn, he sounded horrible. Did you anyway understand Johnny, where he was coming from, with his training?
Yeah, explained it very well. Strike first means you can be aggressive. You don't get anywhere by just sitting back and letting stuff happen. You know, you get somewhere by moving, and it was a good message, but
his delivery was just off.
But it was such a dark tonal thing. The application of it was pretty dark. Strike first means punch somebody in the face, and it'll be difficult for the second season to top what this one did.
Personally, what I think is going to happen in the second season, somehow, some way they're going to split Cobra Kai, because you could tell Johnny don't fuck with Kreese like that.
Yeah, because he said he was dead, and also guess Terry Silver if he comes back from Karate Kid 3.
Mm-hmm. So I personally think it's going to split Cobra Kai, and somehow, some way, Danny and Johnny are going to start working together because his son is involved.
Yeah. So I think it's probably going to be Miguel versus
his
Johnny's
daughter
son.
or some shit.
Yeah, or Miguel versus Johnny's son again, but with his dad behind him.
Right. Johnny's methods weren't bad at all. I mean, some of the stuff that he said was kind of true to adult life, to real life situation. The thing is, and I mentioned this before, the whole essence of this show was put in one episode. And that's the episode when it was dedicated to Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita, was about balance. To me, the perfect balance is to have both the Cobra Kai methods and Miyagi-Do, because both of them are good. It's just how you deliver it. You can't be too passive and you can't be overly aggressive. You have to find the middle. You have to find balance. That's how I see it. And like I mentioned before in the previous podcast,
basically yin yang.
Yeah, basically yin and yang. And one thing that was a main prevalent theme in this: daddy issues. Daddy issues. Everyone has some type of damn daddy issue.
Yep.
I enjoyed the show. It seemed like from what you're saying, you enjoyed the show too.
So Keith, what score would you give Cobra Kai season 1?
Issues again with the pacing of the episodes over the last half. Not the last half, but last 3 episodes.
Yeah, because my issue would be Johnny's son, that he kind of makes a rapid change, and same thing with Miguel. But go ahead.
So a couple more episodes would have helped smooth that transition out. But overall, the 1 for the surprise factor, 2 for the nostalgia factor alone, I would give it a 7. And the fact that it was well done and well executed, I give it another point. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Not perfect, but it's close. It's up there. It's excellent and worth the $8 I spent for it. So
3 lessons of Cobra Kai.
Strike first, strike hard, and no mercy.
No mercy.
Oh, Nostalgia Central. You know how YouTube fucking hooks you? They're like, oh, watch the first 2 episodes for free. And then it's like, crack, you're fucking hooked. And then you have to pay that shit to watch the rest. I'm like, I'm sure it gets better, but man, this show is good. Cheeto Monster or whatever the fuck they call her. I was like, damn, that's fucked up.
Because it turns everything upside down, where the first movie, Danny was the outsider, and now his daughter is one of the insiders, talking about the outsiders.
Yeah, that's like role reversal, bitches. Reversal of roles.
Yeah.
Love that shit. He was fucking up them teenagers, though. I think it was the first or second episode. He was fucking them teenagers up like, pow! The one thing I liked about it is that when he got knocked down, they got right back up. It was this one punch and they were down. Like in the 80s, they were trying to go at him. I was like, oh, shit. And he was fucking them teenagers up. Pow! The kid that keeps asking for karate lessons. I was like, you a bitch.
Just wait.
Straight up bitch. And then they got him. I was like, yo, you kicked homeboy. Like when, I think it was the 3rd or 4th episode, they kicked homeboy in the stomach, dressed up like a skeleton. And I was really, that's it? What you do is you kick one guy, punch another guy in the face, push another guy, and then you run like a bitch. And then you wait till they come out the door. When they come out the bathroom, you fucking hit the shit out of one of them. That way it's a choke point. And that at that choke point, as they trip over, that's when you start stepping on
damn, man. You put a lot of thought into this shit.
Fucking step on their toes. And they
punch them in the balls.
Fingers. That way that shit's broken. And they walk around with fucking boots and casts and shit. That way when they in high school, they remember that you fucked them up.
Matt's angry.
Hey, Barry, please tell me you got all of this.
Yes. He's like, I gotta pick going to school.
Like, if anything, how you to do retro series, this is how you fucking do it. This is how you do it. Not that Karate Kid movie shit. No one gives a shit about Will Smith, the greatest actor's kid.